Hi, boys and girls. Okay, so today we're on page 151 and 152. We're going to be going back and refreshing on fractions. Okay, that's where we left off before the schools closed. So number 2 on the Step It Out is each group in science class has a 2-liter container of distilled water. Group A has 1 9/10 and Group B has 1 3/8 liters. About how much more distilled water does Group A use than Group B? I'm going to underline some keywords. Okay, some important information was over here. 1 9/10 is important, 1 3/8 is important, and it's also important to know that these words right here, about how much more. So I know that I'm going to be doing some type of subtraction, but I also know that it's going to be an estimation at the end of the day because of the word about. Okay? So first, it wants me to go ahead and represent the situation with an expression. Keywords, expression, and the actual situation. Okay? It doesn't want me to make any estimates right now because it didn't ask for any in part A. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it. So I know that 1 9/10 is greater because it said how much more is Group A than Group B. So 1 9/10. Okay? And I know it's subtraction because of the words how much more than. So I'm going to subtract 1 3/8. Okay? Part B says determine an estimate without finding an exact answer. Okay? So right now, this is what I'm doing right here just for part B. Let's take a bullet at a time. Between which two whole numbers does 1 9/10 lie? Okay? Is it between 0 and 1? 1 and 2, 2 and 3. That's basically what it's asking for, the whole numbers. I definitely know it's more than 1 because I already have 1 plus something, okay? And I definitely know it's less than 2 because I don't have a 2 here, okay? So I'm going to write down between 1 and 2, right? Now, is the fractional part, the part that's a fraction, that's right here, the part that's literally a fraction, is it closest to 0, half, or 1? If it's closest to 0, of this, the denominator would have to be 0 out of 10. The way to write down half with a denominator of 10 would be 5 out of 10 because 5 is half of 10. And if it was closest to 1, the fractional version of 1 for a denominator of 10 is 10 out of 10. So you have to ask yourself, is the fractional part of the problem for group A, 9/10, is it closest to 0 out of 10, 5 out of 10, or 10 out of 10? You should have said 10 out of 10, okay? And then you would just give me a little explanation as to why, okay? So 10 out of 10, you would say 1 is your answer. So it is closest to 1. Now, what whole number can you use to estimate 1 9/10? So what that means is you're going to take this 1, and you're going to take this, and you're going to add them together. What I mean by that is you're not going to do 1 plus 9/10 because you would just get 1 9/10. You're going to do 1 plus and the number that you estimated it to. We estimated to 1, so it's 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 9/10 is close to 2 when you estimate. Do the same thing for 1 3/8, okay? You're going to have the 1 plus whatever 3/8 is closest to. Is it closest to 0 out of 8, 4 out of 8, or is it closest to 8 out of 8? You should be saying 4 out of 8, which means that this estimates to 1 half, okay? 3/8 is about half of 8, okay? Now I want you to write an equation for this. Equation, which means I want an answer. So you're going to take your two estimates, okay, because it wants you to find the estimate. 2 minus, says the word difference, and you're going to do minus that 1 half, okay? And then what do you get as your answer? Well, 2 minus 1 is 1, but then you have to take away a half, so you're going to get half as your answer. And then finally, in part C, you're going to just say how much more they actually used and label, okay? You have to label. Okay, you're in 5th grade. It is May. You should know how to label your answer. Okay, so part C, just give me your answer, label it. Okay, number 1 for the check understanding, what it wants you to do is basically what we did up above without all the mini steps. Okay, so for example, a weather station reports that 11/12 foot of snow fell yesterday afternoon. And what does and mean? What operation does and tell us to do in math? Okay, and 1/3 fell yesterday evening. Estimate the amount of snow that fell yesterday. So estimate this, Is it closest to 0, half, or 1? And estimate this. Is it closest to 0, half, or 1? Write your answer here below on the line for how much fell in total. Okay? Keyword total. Okay? I'm adding how much fell in the afternoon and in the evening. Okay? Now going to over here, and if you don't know where 1/3 is closest to, you look at the next page. Look at where 1/3 is. Okay, let's just look over here. 0, half, 1. Here's my 1/3. Is it closest to 0? Is it closest to half? Or is it closest to 1? Use the resources that you have, and remember that I left you a tool to use on assignments under Ed that uses the fraction tiles that we use in the classroom, except now it's online. For numbers 2 and 3, all you're going to do is write an expression. It does not want an answer. Write an expression, but using estimates of each of the fractions. So this 9/10, we already said that 9/10 estimates to 1. So you're going to do 1 plus, and you better know that 1/12 is closest to 0. Okay? That's all I'm going to say for that. And that's basically the answer right there. That's an expression for this. You would have to do the same thing for number 3, and notice that number 3 is actually a subtraction problem. Okay? Let's scroll up to the next problem over here, number 4. You're just, this is an addition problem. Estimate the two fractions and then add them. For numbers 5 and 6, you're actually going to solve, but estimate first, okay? So you're going to look at, you're going to look at 1 and 5/12. Estimate that fraction. What is it closest to? You should be getting 1.5 minus 2/3. Again, where is 2/3 closest to? Is it closest to 0? Half, or 1. Once you have those two new fractions, actually subtract and give me your answer. Okay? For number 7, we did this before we left. You're going to find 1 and 1/3 here. I'm going to put a dot on it, and then you're going to circle the fraction, the benchmark fraction that it's closest to. So is this benchmark fraction closest to 0, half, 1, 1.5, or 2? You should have said 1.5. And if that's what you got, you're going to come over here and write 1.5. Okay? Just to make note of it. And then you're going to do the same thing for 5/6. Find 5/6, and then you tell me, what is it closest to? 0, half, 1, 1.5, or 2. All right? And then you're going to actually compare them. So you're going to go ahead and subtract whatever you also estimate this to be, and then tell me what is the actual difference. Okay? You're going to make, there you go. And you're going to give me the answer to that after you subtract it, and then tell me what is the actual difference. Okay, number 8, it wants you to create your own expressions where 1.5 will be the answer after you estimate your problems. So let me go ahead and do an example for you. So I'm going to actually use some of the fractions that are up here. So I'll use 2/6. 2/6 is close to half. I'm going to go here. First, I'm going to write an addition one, and then it wants me to do a subtraction expression. Okay, so I have I said 2/6. Okay, and then I'm going to do addition, and then I'm going to do 9/10. Okay, so that's one we already did together. So I know this is my expression right here. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. Okay, so I know that 2/6 is closest to half. Okay, and then I'm going to write over here, 9/10 is closest to 1. When I add half plus 1, I'm going to get 1.5. Okay, so just like that, there you go. And then same thing when I do subtraction problem, I'll do the same thing. I have to do something when I estimate it is going to give me a number, and when I subtract it after estimating another number, it will give me 1.5 as my answer, just like how they wanted me to get it. All right, boys and girls, if you have any questions, our WebEx today is going to be at 10:30 a.m. Okay? If you have any questions, comment below, and I can't wait to hear from you. Bye.